Sacks graduated from Oxford University and moved to New York in the 1960s, where he went to work at Beth Abraham Hospital in the Bronx. Events that took place here inspired his book Awakenings and had a profound effect on Sacks. This was the first place he witnessed the therapeutic power of music. When he arrived here, the corridors were lined with patients suffering from sleepy sickness, a disease which affected over 1 million people around the world in the 1920s. Sacks was now working with a ward full of survivors and famously gave them the drug L-Dopa, which brought them out of their catatonic states for a brief time. But he also discovered that even without the drug, there was one thing that could stir them.
These people, unable to take a step by themselves or utter a syllable, could dance, could sing, and could come completely alive for a while with music. That, for me, was the first, it stunned me. It still stuns me to see it. It was an absolute revelation. They were liberated by music. They were freed by music.
I've come to Redhill in Surrey to meet Derek Paravicini. Derek's story is remarkable. He's 28 years old. He's been blind since birth and is severely autistic. In many ways, Derek functions like a 4-year-old, and yet he is an astonishingly, almost bafflingly brilliant pianist.
Alan, I'm Derek. Hello, Alan.
Derek.
Very well, thank you.
It's nice to be here, Derek. Is that especially for me?
Yes.
Derek is a musical savant, and a great deal of his brain power is dedicated to hearing, processing, and creating music.
Very nice too, thank you. What a nice welcome.
Yes, welcome to Redhill, Alan.
Very nice to be here on a beautiful day. And so we've come to see you. Did we tell you we've come to listen to you playing. We've even brought a little piece of music with us.
Yes.
Because we're making a film about music and how some people have got it and some people haven't got it. And you've got it, Derek.
Yes.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
I've brought some music to play to Derek because his mentor and music teacher, Professor Adam Ockelford, has told me Derek will be able to play it back to me after hearing it only once, no matter how complex it is.
Do you want to try it without the CD?
Try it without the CD, please, Adam.
Yes.
Ready from the beginning? Here
Ready
we
from the
go.
beginning.
Derek's turn. Yeah, improvise. Yeah. Tune.
Not only does Derek play the piece back note for note, but I'm amazed by his ability to improvise and play around with the melody.
Good. What would George do with it? Chords.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
My God. So what do you make of that, Adam? You've
I
seen
thought
it
it was pretty
happen.
good.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
it, didn't you, Derek? What
Yeah.
sort of
Get it.
style was that in, do you think?
George Shearing.
Yeah,
George Shearing.
sort of beboppy kind of style.
Kind of bebop kind of style, yes.
Derek was born 3.5 months premature and weighed only 1 pound 5 ounces. The oxygen treatment he was given in hospital to keep him alive left him completely blind and with chronic learning difficulties. Even today, he has trouble counting to 10. But when Derek's parents discovered him playing the piano at the age of 2, they knew there was more going on inside his head than the doctors had ever imagined. Ability.
Are you ready?
But although his brain can process music at lightning speed, it took Adam years to teach him the basic fingering skills.
Even today, Derek still doesn't really know his fingers from his thumbs in a way. If you say, you know, which is your left thumb, he'd have difficulty with that. But of course, the minute it touches a keyboard, it's a different matter. He's completely at one. But the only way to show him how to play scales and arpeggios and so on, the sort of stock-in-trade of any pianist, was physically for him to feel my hands and for me to physically guide him on the keyboard. And I thought,
You have scanned his brain at some point, didn't you, with an ECG?
yeah, we did one of those experiments where you put electrodes on the scalp, and we tried playing Derek little fragments of the Moonlight Sonata, some of which had errors in, and we discovered that Derek's brain, in a fraction of a second, before you could even consciously be aware of it, had registered what was right and what was wrong. His whole brain was lighting up with the music. And yet the verbal responses he gave were at chance level. It was hit and miss, yes or no. Yet intuitively, his brain was alive with the music.
If you're blind, maybe your brain has space to accommodate something more. You know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's this huge real estate of the visual cortex, and nothing stays empty, and it'll be occupied by auditory stimuli, by tactile stimuli, and so the blind people become, you know, almost supernaturally sensitive in many other ways. They will reach out to sound, to touch, to smell, and those parts of the brain will develop instead. In general, people born blind are disposed to be more musical, and I think blindness must be important with Derek.
Where are the bits of the brain which relate to our musical sense?
There's no one musical part of the brain, and in fact there's sort of a dozen different parts of the brain which respond to pitch, to rhythm, to timbre, to melodic contour. Although music is all, it's not just all, and it recruits many other parts of the brain. And in fact, you find that visual parts of the brain and motor parts of the brain, and also the parts of the brain concerned with anticipation and expectation. I mean, because one doesn't listen to music passively. One sort of decodes it as one listens, one sees where it's going, one has expectations.